Hey there guys, so today I'm going to teach you guys how to take some of your models from Maya and how to take them to Substance, apply some textures to them, and then bring them into Unreal. Sometimes render times could be long in Maya, and it's understandable, sometimes we don't have the hardware to run these renders. So another option is to take them into Unreal. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is import your model, right? So I have this one model that I've had for a while, and it's not the best model. I've done it a few years ago, but that's the one we're going to work with, right? So again, so there he is, right? So again, he's not the best. He doesn't have the best topology or whatnot, right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure he's zeroed out. So I want to click on him, go over here to the translates, and make sure they're all zero them out. So what this does, it puts them right in the middle, right? And we want that because it'll make your life such easier in Unreal, right? So make sure he's facing the correct way, and there we go. And after that, we select him again, and we want to go to Modify, Freeze Transformations. What basically this is going to do is that it's going to freeze everything, zero everything out, and it's going to help us again a lot in Unreal. That way everything's not out of place. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure he has a material on him. So I'm going to go ahead and check if he does, and let's go ahead and make this default material into the food fight material, right? And I'm going to go ahead and apply it to him. So all around. So my objective for this model is to make him look like a statue, right? So after I have done this, everything's going to be the same material, right? Okay. So my next thing to do is to grab him and export him out, right? So what I'm going to do is go to File, Export, Export Selection, right? And we're going to give him a new name, right? So his name is Food Fight, right? And he's from this one show that I saw a long time ago. I think it's called Skylanders. But anyways, so what I'm going to name him is Food Fight Unreal. Right? That way we know which FBX it is. And that's another very important thing. So make sure when you're exporting that it is an FBX that you're exporting. Generally, Unreal does not like OBJs. It loves FBXs. And the reason it does is because FBXs hold materials, textures, and animations. So it's a winning combination for Unreal to have that inside it. So I'm going to go ahead and export the selection, right? So it's exported, right? So next thing to do is to open up Substance, right? Okay, once you have Substance opened up, I've had mine open up for a while, so what you do is same kind of process. We want to import it into Substance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, I'm going to click New, right? And it's going to ask you what template you want. So there's a lot of different templates. There's Adobe Dimension templates, there's BPR templates, there's Unity templates, and there's an Unreal template, right? So I want to go ahead and click the Unreal template, and right here where it says File, you click Select, and that's where you find your model at. So mine's going to take me directly where it was. So Food Fight Unreal, open it up, right, and just click OK. Okay, and then it's going to load up. Okay, and there we go. So you can see we have our model over here on the left, right? And over here on the right, we have our UVs or texture set, right? And everything's in one piece. So the controls are similar. You press Alt, left click to move around, but we're not really going to be doing so much moving because we're just going to be assigning some quick materials to this model. So if I go down here to Smart Materials, what I can do is I can see what kind of materials they have, and this just applying a material, right, just so we can get an overall look. And again, I wanted him to look like a statue, so maybe, I don't know, they do have some bronze, some bone, but I think I did see some marble. There you go. So we got some marble polish right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click it and drag it, And there you go. Add him to him. And there we go. We have a quick texture on him, right? And feel free to, explore Substance. You can do a lot of neat things with it. You can do a lot of quick paint overs and really make a model come out good looking, right? So, but for now, we're just going to export these textures, right? So now that that's done, I'm going to go to File, Export Textures, right? And if we click down here, we can see the textures that I'm going to get. A base color, an occlusion roughness, metallic map, a normal and emissive map, right? And the emissive map probably won't show up so much because we really don't have an emissive material, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click Export, right? And then it's going to open the folder. And I should have assigned the direction. I should have set it up where I want these to go, but I didn't do that. But make sure you do that next time. But even if you don't, just grab them, cut them, go to your folder, right, and put them where you need them to put them right there. And as you can see, I already have some textures that I was playing with earlier, right? So I'll just paste them, right? And it's the same thing, so it's not going to hurt it. After that, next thing to do is to go into Unreal. Alright, so now it's time to go into Unreal, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up Unreal. Okay, and it's going to ask you what do you want to create, right? So there's a couple categories: games, film, architecture, automotive. For this project, we're going to go ahead and click on games, right? Click next. All right, and then it's going to ask you to select a template. There's different templates for different things you want to do in Unreal. For us, we're just going to go ahead and choose blank. So we're going to click on blank, click next, and the project settings. So for the most part, you can leave the project settings in default. One of the biggest things is to make sure you start with the starter content. Sometimes the starter content comes with some neat things that you can use. So after that, make sure you choose a location for your project to be stored and name it, of course. So for this one, we're going to name it Food Fight, right? And render, right? Because that's what it is. All right, and we're going to go ahead and create that project. Okay, and just wait for it to load up. All right. So if we look here, we have the basic scene that it comes with. And real quick, to move around, you right click and you can use WASD to move around, right? And you can use Q and E to levitate up or down, right? So those are some of the basic controls. So what we're going to do is we need a new level, right? We want an empty scene. So we're going to go ahead and go to File, New Level, and we're going to choose Empty Level, right? There we go. And now what we want to do is we want to build our scene, right? So first thing we want to do is probably put a plane down. And if you look over here on the left side, there's different tabs: basic, lights, cinematics, visual effects, geometry, volumes, right? So where we're going to go is we're going to go ahead and go to basic, and we're going to drag out a plane. Boom. If you click R, you can scale your plane up and down. We'll go ahead and scale it up. There you go. Right. And the next thing we want to do is we want to import our model, right? So the best thing to do for any program, anytime you're doing anything, is to create a folder. You want to be organized, right? So go ahead and right click and go up and press new folder. Click on new folder and name it, right? So Food Fight. There you go. Okay. And now what we want to do is go inside that folder, and from there we go into this import section, right? Click on the tab and go look for your model, right? So right here, my Food Fight Unreal, and okay, so it's going to ask you for the FBX import options, and for the most part you can leave these in default. Now if you're bringing in animations or characters or whatnot that are doing various things, then of course that changes a little bit, but that's for a later on tutorial. So for now, we're going to go ahead and leave it like this and just click Import All. All right. So, okay, so now we have our model in here, and if we double click on him, we can see him, and he's in basic shade, right? He's in a basic shading material, and okay, we can go ahead and exit out of that. And if we look right next to him, there's the material that it came with, and this material is the one that we got from Maya, if you remember that. So what now that we have to do is that we have to set up our material to fit our textures, right? We have to get the textures to fit the material and connect everything together. So right away, you want to double click on Food Fight on the material. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click, and it'll open up this this editor, right? So a neat trick is to just grab the editor and then just bring it up here, and there you go. And it makes everything a little bit bigger and better for you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete this, and now I need to bring my textures in here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I need to import my textures. I'm gonna go ahead and go right here back to my content browser. I'm going to go back to my folder, and I'm going to import my textures in here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do the same process, click import, and I'm going to go look for my textures. And here they are, right? So make sure you just click on all of them and click open, right? And there they are, they imported, right? And they'll tell you that the normal was imported as a normal map, and that's okay, right? So now that we want to do is we can click on all of them, and it's the same way as any other program. We Control C it, go over here to the editor, and Control V. Oh, that didn't work. So let's grab them and drag them up into the editor. There you go, and that worked, right? So there we go. We have our texture maps. All right, so we're gonna set them up pretty much basic. It's basically straightforward. This is our base color, and what we're gonna do is drag out the RGB from up here, this node, and click it and connect it to this base color, right? And if we see over here on the left, you're gonna see it, what's it called, produce. And we're gonna do the same thing for the normal and for the roughness map, right? So I'm gonna pull out the RGB, drag it to normal, and I'm going to do the same thing for the roughness and click it to roughness, right? Okay, and then there it is. We can see our material over here, and down here in the details and parameters, you can do a few things if you want. You can change it up a little bit. So I'll ask you like the material domain, if you want it to be surface, you want it to be volume, post-process, right, or whatnot. So surface is the best way to just leave it like that. The blend mode, it could be opaque, mask, translucent, modulate. Of course, we're going to leave it back to opaque, and pretty much everything's going to stay in default. But if you do want to make some changes, these are some of the places where you could make some changes. Okay, so now that we do that, we want to go ahead and make apply it, right? There you go, and save. You always want to save. So we're going to go back to my untitled, right? And what we want to do is, okay, now that we have our material on, what we can do is drag him out. And then now that you can see, he has a material, right? But the scene needs to be lit up, right? So let's go ahead and do a quick light rig, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the left, and right here in this tab, if you see lights, you click on it, you have different lights you can use. And it's kind of just like Maya, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and drag out some spotlights, right, and make a quick little rig. So there it is. Okay, I bring it up a little bit, and what I did is I clicked Alt and dragged, and that makes a duplicate. So went ahead and did that. Set it up a little bit. Right, and do the same thing for this side. Right. Okay, and possibly bring it a little bit over here. There you go. Okay, and it's nothing fancy, right? So what we can do now is that we can play a little bit with the lights, and if you look over here to the right, once you click on your light, you'll see little options. You got the intensity, light color, right? The inner cone, cone angle, outer cone angle, and different things. Of course, some of the stuff is familiar from Maya, right? Same kind of tools that you can use, just in different ways. So I'm probably going to switch up the lights a little bit, just make it a little bit more interesting. Just choose some random colors for each one. So here we go. And there we go, right? So now that we have our little light rig, if we go up to our model and if we press play over here on the top right, we can see it playing in real time, right? And you can move in there, so you can start seeing your model and you can see how it looks, right? Not. But if you notice something down here, it says pre, right? And what it really is saying, it's preview. So what that means is that our lights need to be built, and you can see it right here. It says lighting needs to be rebuilt, right? So we press escape, right? We go back to the original editor, and what we're going to do is build our lighting, right? So we're going to go up here where it says build, right? And just click on it. And what that will do is that it'll process everything for us and it'll build our light rig. Okay, it takes a few seconds. Okay, and okay, there you go. And there it is. Map check complete, 0 errors, 0 warnings, and it took about that much time to complete. Let's go ahead and exit out. And then you can see a little bit of a difference, right? And so now if I press play, you can see how he looks. And he looks a little bit better, right? So there we go. So that's about it about how to import your model and assign its textures to it. So now I'm going to show you how to do a quick little sequence. All right. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to render out a sequence, right? So what we want to do is make a quick little render, just showing the model off a little bit, right? So we're going to do a quick and easy render. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to create a camera and just kind of zoom in a little bit, right? So probably move position them some a little bit different way, make it more look a little bit more interesting. And well, remember, whenever you move something, you do have to rebuild lighting, so don't forget to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and build the lighting. Okay, everything looks good. It's building lighting, and there we go. All right, everything seems good, and boom, just exit out. Okay, there you go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to cinematics, right? We're gonna click on cinematics, and we're gonna add a level sequence, right? So go ahead and name your sequence, right? So we're gonna name this sequence test, right? And just save, right? So now if you notice, you pulled up a new tab. It's called sequencer, right? And it might be somewhere else for you, but mine was just already there. So a quick thing to do is you can just grab it and just drag it down to next to your content browser, and it'll become a new tab, right? All right, so there we go. So what we want to do is we want to click right here where it says create a new camera, right? We're going to click on it. And now if you notice, you get a camera cut and then you get the actual camera, right? So make sure you name your camera. So in this case, just double click on it, and sometimes it's a little tedious, but there you go. You can get it. And I'm just going to put shot cam, right? 1, right? And there you go. Right. So if you notice right now I'm piloting the camera, the shot cam, right? And if you notice the model's a little blurry, right? It's not focused right. So we can fix that. All we have to do is go a little bit down, just scroll down, and if you notice it says current aperture, it's at 2.8. So all we want to do is set that up a little bit higher. You can probably go all the way to 100, right? And it should look better. There you go, right? So, and we'll leave it like that. You can change the focal length if you want, or change the manual focus distance. That's up to you though, right? So the keys work similar to Maya, where you press S to key this, right? So as long as you're on your shot cam, you can scroll down. I'm gonna go ahead and start maybe somewhere right here, and press S, and as if you see, you can see in the transform it keyed it, right? So what I'm going to do is probably go all the way to almost the end and probably just zoom in a little bit, maybe a little bit this way, right? And there you go. And I'm going to click S again, right? So if I drag the timeline, you can see my my little movement, right? The camera moving so much, just so little, right? So now I want to render out this little movie, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to click up here where it says camera cuts, boom, right there. And you see this little render this movie, this little tab. Go ahead and click on there. You're going to click on there, and you'll see your settings, right? So the output format, of course, if you want a video, you want to go ahead and choose video sequence, AVI, but there are also other formats, right? You can do a bump map, an EXR, a JPEG, a PNG, the AVI, and a custom render pass. So that's really neat. So we're going to leave that as video sequence, no audio. We'll leave the frame rate at 30 frames per second. You can change that if you want. And our resolution is going to be the 720, 1280, 16 by 9, right? And compression, make sure your quality is at 100. So make sure you the output directory is where you want it to go. In my case, it's going to my renders, right? And select, and you can pretty much leave everything else the way you want. Of course, if you want to set certain start frames, end frames, you can go ahead and change that, but we're going to leave ours just like that. And then what we're going to do is just click capture movie, and if you want to, you could save selected, right? There you go. And you'll see it rendering out over here on the top left, and you're like, oh whoa, it's cutting off. I'm like, no, it's not really, it just happens to do it that way. And over here on the bottom right, you can see capture finished, open capture folder. So we're going to go ahead and open it, and there it is. There's our little scene. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and boom, voila, and there it is. So again, this took a few seconds, a few minutes, nothing so long. If you're trying to render something like this out in an Arnold renderer, it might have taken like 5 minutes or whatnot. It might have taken a little bit longer or a little bit less, just because it's not really that much information. But let's say it was a complex scene, right, with a bunch of textures, super high poly or whatnot. You wouldn't be able to do this in this amount of time. So this is where Unreal really does a great job rendering for you, because it renders everything in real time, right? And of course, this isn't the best little sequence, but it is a quick little demonstration on what you can do. So, okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and exit out. And there you go. Just exit out of everything. And there we go. That's pretty much it. That's how you bring in your model from Maya, assign its textures, and make a quick little scene. A render, I mean. So yeah, so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and right now I'll show you a quick little neat trick on how to import some pre-built worlds and environments from Unreal, and how to set it up right quick to make this render a little bit more interesting. So now I'm going to show you how to bring some environments from Unreal and make this a little bit better, to make this scene stick out a little bit more, right? So what we can do is that we can go to the Epic Games launcher, right? And inside the launcher, we'll find a various amount of different things, right? So if we go to, let's go to home, store, right? So we're going to go ahead and go to the store, and oops, there you go. Click to Unreal. I'm sorry. So we're going to click Unreal Engine, right? And we're going to see Unreal Engine, right? And it gives you a little bit of news, some stuff, some content that it has. And please go over this, because some of this stuff is really great, and there's a really good tutorials here and learning forums in case you want to learn new things, right? So if we go over here where it says Marketplace, click on it, right? It's going to take us to a little marketplace, right? And we have different showcases, and all of them have different things, right? So like this one, for example, is a fishing boat, and it costs about $35, right? And I'm sure it comes with everything, with the boats, textures, materials, everything, right? So what we want to do is we want to find something free. So we go ahead and go over here where it says free. We can click there, or you know what we can do? We can go to browse. We can go browse and look for an environment. So we're going to go ahead and go over here where it says environments. And we have all these various environments, and they all cost money, right? Of course. But we can find some that are free. If we go over here to the right where it says max price, you'll see a little tab that says free. Click on it. And then we'll start seeing different environments. And all these environments are free, right? And you can use them to your liking. So, of course, my little food fight's a statue, so I kind of want something that would fit the same, what's it called? Materials and backgrounds and tones, right? So perhaps I'll use this village pack right here. It kind of matches its color. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on it, right? It says free. Go ahead and click free, and you can see that it's supported with our engine version, right? 4.24. So then I'm going to go ahead and add it to my project. Add to project. There it is, Food Fight render. Add to project, right? And it takes a little while to load up, so you just bear with it, of course. All right, and there it goes. It's about 1.6 gigs, so again, it is a lot, but it won't take so long to load up. And if you want to, you can check, right? We know it's a Infinity Blade Village. We can go to our folder where we have our Unreal folder, the Food Fight render, and if we click on there, and if we click on content, we'll see that it's starting to load up. Where is it at? Collections, developers, Food Fight. No, there's our procedure nature pack. This was another pack that I had originally, but I changed it out. Starter content. And it's probably going to take a little while to load up. But anyways, you can go ahead and go look in here just in case to see if you want to see if it's loading up correctly or not, right? So we're just going to wait a little bit. And it's going to take a while. Okay, and probably right now I'll probably fast forward to when it's done. Okay, so it looks like everything's there already. We can go ahead and just minimize this. And if we look, we can see that our environment pack 4 is right here. That's what it's called, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And we're going to see different meshes, right? Environment pack. And there you go. We have a different environment pack right there. So feel free to mess around with any of the environments that you choose to download from Unreal. Again, they're free, so take advantage of those things, and just for presentation, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to pull out something I can put this guy on. So I see this little cave bridge. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out, put it right there. It's a little static mesh. And again, it might take a little while, but there it is, right? And we'll go ahead and click it right there. And just grab him, possibly put him up there, right? So a neat trick to do is that, let's say you want to like level them out with this mesh, just put them above it, and if you click the end key, right, where your number pad is at, what's it called, make sure the number locks off, it will actually snap it down to the bottom of it, right? Boom, there we go. And we probably want to like make them look a little bit better. Go a little bit this way, right? And it's a really big piece, but we'll leave it like that, right? And let's add some more interesting things around there, right? So let's look around. We have a bunch of meshes, and what's this? Some brambles. Okay. Of course, let the shaders compile. You know, so you're looking at little planes, but they're not little planes. They're actual little textures. Okay, there you go. And now I'll probably make this a little cooler, I guess you can say. And probably place this somewhere right here. Kind of make it seem like there's weeds growing out. And then let's see what else we can do. Go back to content, environment pack, and let's look at some meshes. Right, brambles, same place. Right. What's this? Marshland. Statue base. Let's go ahead and get this to marshland. Pull it out. Place it, and you probably need to scale that up. I don't know. We'll go ahead and delete that. Let's see. Maybe we can find something else. So again, remember if you, when I told you in the beginning, it's good to start off with the starter content. So let's get some of the stuff from the starter content. If we go there to the folder, we can go look and see what we can find, right? And there's architecture, and it's basic architecture, right? Just walls and whatnot. Let's see what else they have. They have audio, blueprints, HDRIs, maps, materials, particles, props. Let's go to props. We can see a little bit of more different props. Nothing really interesting, but you know what we could use is some particles, right? And there's some basic particles right here. So, you know, we have an explosion particle, a fire particle, smoke, sparks, steam lift. I don't know, let's go with some smoke. Let's make this a little bit more interesting. Having to smoke out. You probably want to, you know, bring it down a bit. And just place it. That's all it is, just placing it, kind of making it look a little bit more interesting, more cool, right? And remember, we have to build lighting, so go ahead and click build lighting. Okay, it looks like it's almost done, and there it is. Boom. So now we press play, we can see our environment looks a little bit more better, right? A little bit more presentable. And there he is right there, right? So we probably want to bring him a little bit forward just to get him inside the light. And what we can do is we can click on all of them, right? We can click on the smoke, right? And the bramble and the cave bridge, right? Those three things. And then just drag them all up. Oh, I forgot him, but I can move him right now. There you go. Just grab them and just move them a little bit right there. And there we go, right? So again, we have to build lighting whenever you move any meshes or anything at all. Just make sure you build the lighting. That way it's less taxing later on if you're trying to build a big amount of meshes and lightings or whatnot. Okay, there we go. Everything's fine. Now if I press play, and he looks way better. Right? We can't really see the smoke so much, so we probably need to move that. So where is he at? Where's the smoke? Yeah, move it a little bit more back. There it is. And we can press play. And there we go. If you go in, zoom in a little bit, you should be able to see the smoke coming out a little bit. There it is. It was just processing right quick. And you can see a little bit of it. And then you can mess around with the particles and make them a little bit more denser or less dense or whatnot. But this is a quick way to just, you know, really make this come out, right? So now I'm just going to render out a better little sequence. So the same process as earlier. We're going to go ahead and go to cinematics, right? We're going to add a level sequence, right? We're going to name this new sequence, right? There you go. Save it, and there it is. So same process. We want to add a camera, right? We have our camera cuts right there. And what we're going to do is that with this new camera that we have, the Cinema Actor, right, we're going to name it. Again, it's a little tedious, but just double click and then just put new render, right? Okay, so go ahead and click on it. Again, you want to change the settings from earlier. Make sure the aperture, you know, is a little bit higher, probably to 100. That way he's focused a little bit better. Okay, number lock 100. There we go. Should look a little bit better. And now what we want to do, again, we're piloting this camera, so I want to kind of start off like maybe right here, right? A little bit in the bottom, kind of make it look a little cool and interesting, right? And something like that. So we'll start off right here. Again, press S, the S key, but make sure you're on your camera, right? This one, and then make sure you press S. There you go, and move it all the way up, right, to where you want it to go. Let's just say 143 for now, and I'm gonna go up a little bit and a little bit this way, and there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and press S, and if we move our timeline, we can see our camera moving. There you go. All right, everything looks okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and render this out. So click on camera cuts, right, and then click this little camera thing right here, little render this movie out tab. Click on it, right, make sure everything, all the settings are the same, video sequence, no audio, right, choose your resolution, make sure your quality is at 100, and again you want to make sure it renders out to the place you want it to go to, right? So in this case it's going to my folder. Everything seems right, and I'm gonna capture this movie. So you can save selected. There you go. And there you go. And again, remember, it looks like that, but it actually rendered out the way we first saw it. So we're gonna go over here to where it says capture finished, open the folder, and let's take a look at it. Food Fight Render 2, right? And there you go. And possibly what you would want to do is probably put a little bit of delay on it, right? Mess with the camera a bit to make it look a little bit more focused. But you can see how easy it is to quickly show off your models and build a quick environment just by downloading some free assets from Unreal. And you're not really saying that you made the assets or anything like that. It's all about presentation, right? So there you go. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the whole tutorial, and there'll be more to come. Thank you for watching.